Good afternoon folks, it's Gary here, and today we're going to be taking a look at Albion Online. Now this is a game from Sandbox Interactive that has just entered its final phase of the beta, so what better time to check it out. First thing we need to do, of course, is make a character. Now we need to pick an avatar, which is nothing more really than the small image that will display in the top left of your screen whilst playing. So I think that looks most like what I'm going to play. So the character customization is very limited. We've got a few different colours for skin. We've got 7 different hairstyles and hair colour. Underwear you're going to put on armour and not even notice that anyway. So I'm happy with my character. It's only taken me about 2 minutes to make, but it might make a nice change to spend more time playing it than in character creation. Oh, you know, not mentioning any games. Black Desert. So here we are in Albion Online, and it doesn't give us much direction. All I know is I need to collect 3 rough logs. So that was simple. Next up is rough stone. Okay, so we collected those, and from that we can make a beginner's skinning knife. So presumably that's under tools, beginner's skinning knife. Craft. Very straightforward. So we're having to kill poor defenseless rabbits and collect their hides, unfortunately. From that we can make a mercenary's jacket. So next up I need to make a beginner's broadsword. So we're going to see what I need to make that. I'm good on the stone but a little bit short on the logs. Just getting this last bit of stone now and I'll be able to whip that sword up. So we just made this sword and the game is telling me to assign spells to it. So as you can see, in here we've got the usual stats and mumbo jumbo, but under spells I can select between beginner cleave and beginner strike. So it looks as if your spells are actually assigned to your weaponry and armor, which should allow for some really interesting builds. I'm no expert, but I think it might be a good idea to get hold of some tools before we start our journey. So let's start mining some resources. By mining resources, I mean defenseless rabbits. Something that's come to my attention is the lack of auto-pathing within the game. So if I click on the other side of this rundown caravan, my character doesn't actually run round here to where she needs to go. She will just walk into the caravan as if to say, yeah, well, I can't get through that. So we're looking good now. Got myself my skinning knife, got myself my hammer, my pickaxe, and my sickle. So we are good to go. Gonna head back to that canyon and see if we can get hold of some of those copper deposits. Oh, here we go. So this dude's just asking for it. Combat's nice and reactive. Not the most exciting thing in the world, but does the job. Wow, this guy's got 12 rugged hides. Must have been a very fluffy impala, that one. I may have got a little bit excited killing all the local wildlife and plundering all the natural reserves because my weight is now sitting at 126%, so I'm moving noticeably slower. Now the problem with this is certain areas within this game are open world PvP enabled, so if you're a crafter who gets a little bit excited whilst you're out collecting resources, you may find yourself easy target for PvPers. So let's see if we can drop some stuff off in our bank in order to lighten the load a little. I don't think I need this cotton at the moment, so instantly now my weight has fallen into a safe level and I'm going to start using the other stuff to make some armour. So I'm going to smelt these ores up. So worth noting is it let me smelt all 28 bars instantly then. I didn't have to do it 28 times, which of course is very different to how Runescape handles it. So let's make myself some armour. Gonna get the jacket. And I'm gonna get some boots. It's of excellent quality as well. Well, of course you expect anything less. So I've gone and got myself 2 bits of armour, and with that I've gained 2 spells. I've got a little heal in here now that I can use outside of combat because of my jacket, and on my boots I've actually gained a sprint, which is pretty sweet. So let's have a look at the scale of this game. So far I've been playing for about an hour and a half, and I've only really encountered these 3 biomes here. Now, as I can see, there appears to be bigger towns, there's marshy areas, there's snowy areas. I even saw a boat down here that presumably takes me wherever this travel path is. And not only that, but it looks as if a lot of these areas are PvP enabled and can be captured by different guilds, which is a really exciting prospect. For now, I think it'll be pretty exciting if we head towards a village within this game, so we're going to head towards Huckley Cross. It's worth noting as we make our journey there that this game does have a day and night cycle, so we've actually fallen into noon here, which just makes the world feel a little bit more immersive. We're in this swamp area now, and I think it's about time we mentioned the graphics. Now, this is a multi-platform MMO, so I can play this on iOS, I can play this on Android if I want to. And because of that, of course, they couldn't go absolutely nuts on the graphics. What they have settled on is this very colourful art style with this almost chunky aesthetic that, with a little touch of shadow chucked in, I think gives the game a really good sense of depth. Even as a PC user, I have no problems in the way this game looks. We're just about to enter the main town, but before we do, I just want to draw your attention to this premium status screen within the game. Now, Albion Online is buy to play. There is an upfront cost in order to access this game. You can then decide if you want to become a premium member. Now, there's some fairly sizable benefits, as we can see on this left hand side, that if you wanted to take the game competitively, you would probably want to have it. Now, you can access that through 2 ways. You can either pull out your credit card or you can use in-game currency. Does this make the game pay to win? I'll let you be the judge. So here we are in our first big village. We are in Huckley Cross. Let's see what's kicking about. So I've just found this island merchant who is prepared to sell me my own little island in the sun for 6,250 silver. However, I've got a bit of a problem with this bit down the bottom here, which states that I need 30 more days of premium status in order to buy my own island. All of a sudden, premium status is going from nice to have to must have within this game. Let's get my cotton wool out of the bank. Fuck. So I've been a bit of an idiot here because I naturally assumed that the banks within this game all shared the same inventory. I could bank it in one place and access it wherever I went. So I've been speaking to other players about why this is the case, and when you think about it, it makes complete sense. The entire focus of this game is clans overtaking different territories, and it's all about you almost having supply lines in order to support your war effort. The skill in Albion Online is cutting off your enemy's supply lines. If you could just put the items in a bank and access them wherever you needed them at that time, you essentially gut what makes this game fun. So I'm not entirely sure how it works, but it looks as if players can own real estate within this game. As you can see here, the owner of this plot is a rather edgily named Zereth Knight with a Y instead of an I. Now, I have no idea what this gives him. Whether or not he makes a certain amount of profit from whatever this guy takes in, I have no idea. But it's still really cool to see this kind of system in an MMO. So this plot of land is only up for 3 silver. So we're going to put in a cheeky little bid. Okay, so those copper bars we smelted earlier, let's see if we can make something handy out of these. Let's go for some novice's armor and maybe a shield. I'm making the shield out of wood, so I'm not sure that that's a particularly good sign. And we'll get some boots as well. I'm going to share something with you I just found out that I think's really cool. So I went to equip the new armor I just made, and basically it tells me that I don't have the relevant mastery in the Destiny board in order to wear this particular piece of armor. Would you like to have a look at the Destiny board? Hell yeah. So it tells me I need to become a trainee fighter. And in order to do that, I have to kill 200 creatures. And then I started ignoring that because I was getting a little bit of a chub on. Because the Destiny board looks like the sphere grid from FF10. And it's an absolutely fantastic progression system that more games should have copied by now. So one thing I can say about this game is its scale is massive. it would take literally hours to get from one side of the world to the other. The problem is, a lot of the areas are very samey. As you can see when I'm walking through this swamp, there's no landmarks, there's nothing particularly iconic that makes you stop and take in the scenery. I think they've gone a little bit too much for scale and haven't really focused on making the journey worthwhile. I'm going to try and unlock that mastery of 200 creature kills so I can wear my new armor, and to do this I'm going to see how we get on in our first mini dungeon. This place has a really cool feel to it. I'm liking the dungeon design on this. This dude had an army of rats. I'm not sure that's the most hygienic army to have, mate. We're getting a little bit deeper now. I think we're nearly at the boss room. Oh, check that out. We've earned our trainee fighter skill. Lovely. Once this guy's toast, I'll see if I can equip that armor. I am absolutely loving the skill system within this game. So check this out. I've just got this new chest piece, as you know. And I've gained this toughness, which is a reduction of damage towards me by 5%. But in addition to that, I've also now gained a choice between two spells that I want to have. I've got Mend Wounds, which is what I'm currently using, which is a heal outside of combat. But I can opt for this Wind Shield that increases my movement speed, increases my armor, my magic resist, and even reflects some damage back to the owner. In PvP, you'd probably really want something like this. And it's just giving the player impactful choices, which is something I love. So we've made it to the boss. No fucking about. Let's charge in there. Hello, darling. What are these things he's putting on the ground? Oh! I've actually got things to dodge now, which makes the combat much better. Keep on chucking stuff like that at me, please. This little turret he's put up actually sends out fireballs, which I have to now dodge. If the PvE stays at this kind of rate, where it's chucking out all kinds of different mechanics at you, I can definitely see it staying fun. Proper job. We've nailed him, boys. That was a really fun fight. So I'm going to bring something to your attention that's been really bothering me in the time we've been playing so far. And that's that the game isn't a seamless world. It is divided up into chunks. I'm going to demonstrate this now. Now we get a load screen with a page worth of information on there, but let's be honest, it was up for about 0.4 seconds. No one can physically ever read that. Why do they bother with this load screen? Why not just fade to black and fade the game back in? It would make it seem so much more less immersion breaking if they went with this route. We're coming to the end of our time with Albion Online, so I'm just going to quickly gather some of my thoughts. Bear in mind, I've not done a lot of what this game has to offer. I've not touched PvP, I've not got involved in clan wars, so please just take that into account. So firstly, I love the focus on trade skills. They are the main ingredient within this game. They are not some garnish that's just been chucked to the side. They're not an afterthought. Everything revolves around them. Secondly, you've got this vast world and there's no way of moving around it instantly. There is no teleportation. If you're going from A to B, you better prepare for a journey. Chuck in the fact that some areas are going to be high in some resources and lower in others. Players are going to want to move around the world in order to get the best price for their goods. Now, chuck PvP into the fold where players can kill you when you're exporting these goods, and all of a sudden you've got a situation like Eve. The players are making the story now, not the developers, and that's a really positive change. Not only that, but you've got fantastic systems like the spell system, the destiny board, the fact that you can play this on practically any device you can get your mitts on, and you've got yourself a really accessible, well-rounded MMO. The things this game doesn't do so well is you're going to be hitting a lot of loading screens. Now, I don't always mind loading screens because typically they give me a world that's very diverse. The problem with Albion Online is the world isn't diverse at all. Once you have seen one swamp zone, you have seen all the swamp zones. There is nothing that when you're walking along you think, oh, Gotta stop, gotta take a screenshot of that. There's nothing exciting that you can stumble across on your adventures, and that's really disappointing, and I think they've got to address that. The other thing I'm not happy with in this game is premium status. Originally it just looked like a bonus to when you were harvesting particular resources, and I was okay-ish with that. However, as we saw, you can't own a clan house, you can't own your own personal house unless you have been a premium member for 30 days. I think that's a step too far. The game is already buy to play, and then I think you're practically enforcing a subscription on people. Overall, I think this is a really unique MMO with an almost old school approach to its game systems, and I wish it the best of luck going forwards. That's all from me, folks. Take care of yourselves.